Let us now discuss the Lesson 3, Methods and Techniques in Teaching Araling Panlipunan according to Corpus and Sanandanan 2015. Now that you have a clear picture of the intended outcome or act, teaching of Araling Panlipunan, let us find out how to go there. Let us learn effective and efficient ways of arriving at our destination. The K-12 Curriculum Guide describes the teaching approach in the teaching of Araling Panlipunan as based on constructivismo or constructivism, magkatuwang na pagkatuto or collaborative learning, pagkatutok pangkaranasan at pangkonteksto or experiential and contextual learning, pamaraang tematiko or thematic approach, paksain and conceptual or conceptual approach, pagsisiyasat or survey, integratibo or integrative, interdisciplinaryo or interdisciplinary, and multidisciplinaryo or multidisciplinary. They have been explained in Chapter 3, but they will be explained here once more for emphasis. First, constructivist approach. This approach is based on the assumption that the students come to class with entry knowledge and skills. New lesson becomes meaningful when a connection is established between their prior knowledge and new learning activity. The students redirect on this new learned knowledge, continue to make connections to other concepts learned and construct new meanings. Second, collaborative learning. This is based on the assumption that students learn better when they learn with others. Based on the principle of synergy, what a whole group of students can do is 99 more than the sum of what each student can do separately. It is also supported by the fact that students learn better in a cooperative atmosphere than in a competitive atmosphere. Working with a group is less threatening than working alone.
Next, experiential and contextual learning. It is learning beginning with experience and then ending in experience. Lessons begin with a discussion of concrete experience and proceeds to an analysis and reflection of the concrete experience that eventually leads to abstraction or generalization, which is brought back to the realm of experience for application of what is learned, which is another set of experience which can be analyzed and reflected, and so on. The cycle begins and ends with experience, then starts again. Experiential learning is inductive, learner-centered and activity-oriented. Personalized reflection about experience and the formulation of plans to apply learning to other contexts are critical factors in effective experiential learning. The emphasis in experiential learning is on the process of learning and not on the product. Experiential learning can be viewed as a cycle consisting of 5 phases. Number 1. Experiencing, which an activity occurs. Number 2. Sharing or publishing, which reactions and observations are shared. Number 3. Analyzing or processing, which patterns and dynamics are determined. Number 4. Inferring or generalizing, which principles are derived. And number 5. Applying, which plans are made to use learning in new situations. This is also called contextualized learning because learning is rooted in human experience, meaning the context of learning is experience itself. Araling Panlipunan as a subject develops the following themes across the grades. 1. Tao, kapaligiran at lipunan. 2. Panahon, pagtutuloy at pagbabago. 3. Kultura, pananagutan at pagkabansa. 4. Karapatan, pananagutan at pagkamamayanan. 5. Kapangyarihan, otoridad at pamamahala. 6. Produksyon, distribusyon at pagkonsumo. And 7. Ugnayang pangrehiyon at pangmundo. This is an evidence of the use of the spiral progression approach. To be truly spiral, these themes are discussed in every grade level, treated in an increasing complexity across the grades. Next, thematic method. As the name suggests, learning revolves around a theme. The K-12 Curriculum Guide for Araling Panlipunan enumerates the following themes across the grades. Grade 1, Tao, Kapaligiran at Lipunan. Grade 2, Panahon, Pagtutuloy at Pagbabago. Grade 3, Kultura, Pananagutan at Pagkabansa. Grade 4, Karapatan, Pananagutan at Pagkamamayanan. Grade 5, Pangyarihan, Otoridad at Pamamahala. Grade 6, Produksyon, Distribusyon at Pagkonsumo. And Grade 7, Ugnayang Pangrehiyon at Pangmundo. Each theme should be accompanied by focused questions.
Good afternoon, class. I am Teacher Pau. So now we are going to talk about conceptual approach and integrative approach in teaching social studies. Conceptual approach. It involves the process of concept formation. Concepts are mental constructions representing categories of information that contain defining attributes. Walker and Advant, 1988, as cited by Corpus and Salandanan, 2015. Conceptual approach is a structured inquiry process where students figure out the attributes of a group or category that has already been formed by the teacher. Example, if you are to learn about culture, what is the first thing that would come into your mind? Norms such as being hospitable, values such as being family-oriented, and artifacts such as pottery, weaponry, artwork, tools, manuscripts, or writing. Let's move forward to number 6, which is the integrative approach. This approach is anchored on the assumption that teaching and learning are more meaningful and further enriched if lesson is connected to interdisciplinary and disconnected to transdisciplinary. Integrative learning is an approach where the learner brings together prior knowledge and experiences to support new knowledge and experiences. By doing this, learners draw on their skills and apply them to a new experience at a more complex level. Students take ownership of their own learning, becoming critical inquiries who are able to make meaningful connections between different disciplines and utilize critical thinking to real-life problems. Example, we integrate language learning and social studies in a way that we give activities such as researching and writing about historical and current influential figures or using timelines to learn more about historic events.
For meaningful, active, value-based, integrative, and challenging Araling Panlipunan teaching, the following specific methods and techniques are suggested. Number 1, try question. This will enable the students to probe into events. 3 questions are asked. Number 1, what happened? 2, why did it happen? And 3, what are the possible consequences? In the lesson, we do not ask what happened, and that's the end. Digging into why and asking how it affects the students and you and all others is indeed meaningful. Number 2, moral dilemma method. In a moral dilemma is a storm between 2 options. What are the crucial features of a moral dilemma? The person is required to do each of the 2 actions. 2, the person can do each of the actions. 3, the person cannot do both of the actions. Number 4, the person thus seems condemned the moral failure. No matter what she does, she will do something wrong or to fail the something that she ought to do. The famous king's example illustrates the moral dilemma. A woman was near death from a certain kind of cancer. There was one drug that the doctors thought might save her. It was a form of dragon that a druggist in the same town that recently discovered. The drug was expensive to make. But the druggist was charging 10 times what the drug cost him to produce. He paid $200 from the drug using charged $2,000 a small dose of the drug. The sick woman's husband came went to everyone he knew to borrow the money, but the couple only get together about $1,000, which is half of what it cost. He told the druggist that his wife was saying and asked him to sell it cheaper or let him pay later, but the druggist said, "No, discover the drug and I'm going to make money from it." So Haynes got desperate and broke into the man's store to steal the drug for his wife. Question: should Haynes have broken in the laboratory to steal the drug for his wife? Why or why not? Number 3, lesson indigenization, another way of making Araling Panglipunan teaching integrative and meaningful to students is indigenizing and localizing the lessons. In indigenization, concepts are explained using thought patterns and materials of indigenous communities. Abuso et al. Cite the following techniques of indigenizing is number 1, citing example from local culture related to the topic. Number 2, using indigenous knowledge, local using songs, stories, and poems. Number 3, using indigenous aids such as artifacts. Number 4, incorporating community resources, the teaching visit scenic spots, inviting local people as resources person. Number 5, putting up learning resources centers where local artifacts are displayed. 6, discussing local problems and youth issues. 7, preserving local songs, dances, and games. 8, using the local language and teaching. 9, participating in local celebrations. 4, service learning that involves community projects that occur during falls under the category of multidisciplinary integration at Topa Topa Elementary School at Ocean, California. 5th and 6th grade students created pamphlets of the pros and cons of pesticides to explain the crop triggers and protect themselves against the substances. Students pass out the brochure written in Spanish and English to workers and consumers through the Ojai ballot. Through the project, students fulfilled standards for language, art, science, and social studies. Raglan 2000, as cited by Corpus and Salandanan 2015. This means that the teaching learning of the standards for subjects like language, art, science, and social